Now in Medford and in the studio with us this morning, a guy that we're both happy to call friend.
Yes.
Bart Baldwin from Noah's River Adventures. Good morning, Bart.
Good morning.
Indeed. Yeah, get close to that mic there. Get cozy. Because, we brought Bart in, one, because he's a friend, but, two, there are a lot of changes this year when it comes to getting out there and being safe with your family in the water. And there are a number of different things to keep an eye out this year. The fact that the Gold Ray Dam's gone. The fact that we've had an unprecedented amount of rainfall over the winter and spring. And the fact is that the water's not going to be the same as you might remember it. Right, Bart?
Sure, yeah. You can think of that snowpack up there as like a savings account for water in the summer. And Mother Nature hasn't spent that. And so,
right.
We may get that all at once in 3 or 4 weeks, or it may trickle down in the next 2 months. But it's still up there, and everything's full and everybody's happy when there's enough water. Everybody is happy with summer recreation and spring recreation. If we ever get a spring here, we might go roll right into summer. But,
yeah, well, I think it's been pretty nice the last few days. Temps into the 90s next week could change the dynamics of things.
Yeah, and it could. I mean, it's already at capacity. Lost Creek Reservoir for the Rogue is full. Mm-hmm. Anything coming in has to go out, and they monitor that fairly closely. But it's already really high for this time of year coming inflow to Lost Creek. And so
right.
If you get that heat influx, they got to release it, and we could have maybe a week or two of higher water.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, we're looking for some fun stuff on the Upper Klamath right now, because that is a river that is regulated more or less by turbine generators.
Yeah, it's you've got the lake upstream, Upper Klamath Lake, and that's full as well. Mm-hmm. So anything coming in has to go out. But they've got numerous reservoirs that they need to play a game with to fill this one, release it for hydroelectric power through the turbines to fill the one downstream, and then they've got to regulate the river level from the last dam or the last reservoir all the way to the Pacific.
Right.
So, but right now we've got, it puts a smile on my face when you say that, because we've got probably the perfect level for that river. Mm-hmm. And we're into fairly warm weather. The river's warming up. It doesn't take long for that river to warm up. And so, like we were talking about, it's nature's roller coaster ride, and mm-hmm. we're trying to introduce the valley to that river. It's close. It's the next drainage south of us. Everybody knows about the Rogue River here. That river is fairly close, and it's a day trip for us, and it's just, bang for your buck. It's the best ride.
Yeah.
And right now it's at its optimum level, which we don't usually see very late in the spring, and mm-hmm. so we've got a unique set of circumstances right now that we've got some warmer weather, warmer water, and big water as well.
I got to tell you, it's going to be in the 90s next Tuesday, Wednesday. If you're thinking about getting out on the river, that'd be a great day when it's 90 degrees mm-hmm. and you're out on the Upper Klamath and the water's like right around 60.
Yeah,
it's just perfect conditions.
Yeah. And we've got enough gear if it does cool off. We've been using it all spring. We're hoping to put it away pretty soon. But it's one of those things that it'll put a smile on your face for about a week.
Yeah. Months. It just goes and goes and goes. Talking about water temperature, and you really have some different dynamics. The Klamath, obviously, coming off of a lake, mm-hmm. and a fairly shallow lake at that. Mm-hmm. It tends to be a little bit warmer. But the Rogue River, on the other hand, Illinois, they tend to come from different sources, such as high glacial mountains where the runoff tends to be a little colder.
Where that cold, chilly, snow, freezing water.
Yeah.
Refreshing. We call it refreshing.
Refreshing indeed. Now, so anyway, you're out on the Rogue, and there's different things to keep in mind, too, because you get in that water, it could be a little shock to the system.
Yeah, it can. And at this point, they release water off the bottom of the lake. They can release it off the middle part of the lake at Lost Creek, so they can regulate the temperature a little bit.
Okay.
So the closer you get towards Lost Creek, the cooler it is usually anyway. Mm-hmm. But as that snowpack melts and comes in, the sun really hasn't had a chance to warm it up.
Right.
And so what we're going to have is a higher level all summer. but it is going to be cooler for the next month. It'll be significantly cooler than I think people are used to, and quite a bit higher than what people are used to.
And as the weather gets warmer and a lot of kids head to the river and they just jump in, it can be a serious shock to the system.
That can put you in trouble right away. If you're looking across and say, hey, I used to swim across this every July,
right,
and I'm going to do it again July 4th, you might be in for a little bit of a surprise as far as temperature. And once that temperature zaps your strength, and then you're kind of at the mercy of what the river wants to do to you. So, the biggest thing that we tell people, whether it's a river trip or whether it's a family event or a picnic beside the river and they're going to swim, is know before you go. I mean, whether it's a Class 2 run or a float or a Class 5 expedition, you need to be as educated as you can with what's downstream, what's upstream, how deep is it, never dive in head first, all the little things that, that you should remember. But the know before you go thing, what is the level, where is help if we need it, and keeping an eye on the kids around the water, wearing a PFD, wearing a life preserver, is
it's a must.
Yeah,
it really truly is, and a lot of people take it for granted. The river's changed a lot since Goldray Dam has been pulled out.
Yeah. Well, it's the upstream now from Tuvale down is a beautiful float. I mean, I think you see one house, you see the power lines in one section. Lower Table Rock, it just dominates the scenery as you go through there, and it's really pretty. From Goldray site down, the river's starting to clean itself out. So you have a lot of the trees that were, the roots were undermined. The reservoir kind of spread things out. Now the river's channelizing itself back through. So there's a lot of wood right below it, immediately below it. And we've had some issues downstream where we've removed some logs and some rapids. But that's the most dangerous thing out there, in our opinion, is wood. You know, when you see any wood with current running through it is definitely a big danger, and something people should be aware of. So it'll clean itself out more and more every year.
So for people who aren't going with a rafting guide, okay, what are the most common mistakes they make that get them in trouble in the water?
You got to choose your craft wisely. I think if you go buy a Tahiti or a raft from Walmart, then you have a Tahiti or a raft from Walmart. And, and that works, but you just have to know the limitations of it. If it's a float, fine. If you're running whitewater, that's something that you might want to upgrade into something, better have the right equipment. Obviously, having a PFD is the law. Wearing a PFD is intelligent. And so a lot of people have them and they sit on them, or they have them because they have to have them. But if you wear one, you have, you have just that extra level of security, especially if you have kids. As an adult, the kids have to wear it. As an adult, you should wear it in case you had to help the kids out. And anybody that's been in current without a PFD will generally wear one because they know, how much it's not swimming across the pool. There are definitely dynamic factors at work there that you can't beat. And I don't care how good a swimmer you are. You just work with the current, not against the current. So I'd say that's probably one of the biggest things. And just being intelligent, like I said, know before you go. Know the run, know where the takeout is, know what the level is, know what's around that corner. If you don't know, maybe pull over and take a peek. Or
what advice would you give? Like, you and I both have young kids. So what advice could either one of us give our kids just in case they were to fall into a river or find themselves in a river, either with or without the
That's a
flotation?
good question. What we tell people, there's that defensive swimming positions, feet downstream, you want to see your nose, your knees, and your toes out of the water, and you want to hit stuff with your feet and your hands if you have to. And then work with her. Tell these kids if they're there what to do if every river has an eddy generally, and that's kind of the rest area on the freeway. That's a spot you can't call a timeout in the river, but you can turn and aggressively swim over to an eddy and get out of the water if you were in trouble. If not, it's just a matter of a proper fitting PFD. I know a lot of the kids' PFDs, they float them like a cork. So you don't have to worry about that too much as long as it fits them well.
You don't want them sliding out of it.
You don't want to save the jacket.
Exactly. Bart Baldwin from Noah's River Adventures, appreciate you coming by to talk about some river safety. You've got of course, guided tours that pretty much covered most of the rivers around the area.
Sure.
I'm so spoiled after going out on the river with you. Like, I don't ever want to go out on my own because you guys just take care of everything all day.
Well, and
I'm
not
dead
to mention,
serious.
yeah, I mean, everything's taken care of from, continental breakfast and lunch, if you do the full day trip. But, they get the rafts ready for you, and they're all...
That's what I'm saying.
You crawl in, you put your PFD on, and you strap in, and you go.